And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Here, and it is Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for all the toy news, action figure news of the week that interested me, that hopefully interests you, and this will be a very big video. I'm going to tell you guys right up here, right up front, as last weekend was New York Toy Fair. Yes, Toy Fair was here. We got New York Comic-Con in a couple of weeks as well. So there is a lot going on in the action figure news, and it had been a little dormant the last couple of weeks. I guess this video makes up for it here, as we got a lot of stuff to talk about, and a lot of stuff I'm not going to talk about because there's so much stuff. This could be a 3-hour video. We're not going to get into all of it, just the stuff that interests me, but there's a lot more to talk about as well if you're into many more lines outside of what we do cover right here. But a heck of a lot with that. And then all the normal news this week. As you do know, the Hasbros, Mattels of the world, they did not go to Toy Fair. So they had their own announcements this week. Pre-orders, all that kind of fun stuff we're used to. But let's start it off with a little bit of housekeeping. Just a little bit of housekeeping. We got some giveaways going on right now, so make sure you're a part of that. Rita Repulsa Super 7 Ultimate Edition right there. That is a giveaway going on right now. All you have to do is head over to the X, the former Twitter, of course. Find me over there at SirPaul64. Make sure you follow me over there. And then screenshot that you are subscribed to the brand new Kyle Peterson YouTube channel, Kyle Peterson 2.0. You guys should know where that is by now. There's plenty of links, including in the descriptions, the community tabs, all that kind of stuff. But make sure you're subscribed to that channel. Post a screenshot, follow me on the X, and tag one friend. Next weekend, I will announce a winner for this Rita Repulsa. So somebody will win this figure as a thank you for subscribing to the brand new YouTube channel. Make sure you're checking that out. There is a ton of stuff going on over there as well. This channel, just there's not enough room for all the content. We're putting extra content over there, some special stuff, and then very soon, coming up here in a month or so, let's take it, once I get done with some work stuff going on. Very busy man this time of year, but I will do some live streams over there as well, so there's going to be a lot of fun stuff, and even more surprises to come. A lot of surprises to finish off this year for this YouTube channel right here. And then finally, we do have the month of October Patreon giveaway. Patreon members, I just gave away the Owen Hart exclusive over there on Patreon. Now we're doing Andre the Giant Ultimate Edition. This will be the October giveaway. You want a chance at this, head on over to the Patreon channel. Look at all the stuff, look at all the details, all that kind of stuff. Thank you guys for supporting the channels. There you go, and especially the Patreon supporters out there as well. But let's dive in. Let's not waste any time with some of that Mr. T jibber jabber. Let's get started into the toy news of the week and covering New York Toy Fair. They'll mix out throughout this. So we'll talk about some Toy Fair stuff. We'll talk about some new normal stuff. Just kind of mix and match and go between. So stay tuned for all this. But let's kick it off. New York Toy Fair. Jazzwares was there. Mattel was not. Jazzwares was, and they did show off a few things coming to the Jazzwares vault sooner rather than later. I guess we're not exactly sure quite when, but coming soon is a Ring of Honor Claudio Castagnoli. So we got old Claudio. We've seen this in the past a little bit, but we got a full-on look. I guess he's kind of got a little tie thing. It does look a little strange, but he definitely looked different in his first run of Ring of Honor way back in the day, of course, before WWE and AEW time frame. So it does fit the mold. It's just kind of one of those things where your head doesn't think of him that way. At least that's how it does for me, but it'll be an interesting one. That will be on the vault. The one I'm probably most excited about is the Malachi Black box set. Just a box set that just screams evil is what this screams right here. But a lot of bells and whistles to this one. I could see some people saying, well, we've had Unmatched, we've had Unrivaled, heck, we've had Supreme. Do we really need this one? And I guess you could make that argument. Maybe it's for the diehards, we'll see, but that's kind of what the vault is for. The diehard collectors, the fan base that takes that extra step. That's what something like the Vault and Mattel Creations is for. We got my Malachi Black box set coming, and then Death Triangle. We've seen that for quite some time at this point, but the Death Triangle box set looking pretty cool as well. So there's a little Jazzwares representation over there at New York Toy Fair. And interesting to see where all that stuff does go. I did just, as I'm filming this, get confirmation that my Hook Danhausen 2-pack from Amazon is shipping. So I should have that, it said, I think, tomorrow. So I'll probably have that review up very soon as well. So a lot of AEW content this week on the channel as well. Check out all the videos. We'll talk more about that in the weekly purchases video tomorrow. So stay tuned for that one once again. Boss fight coming through this week. We've got Taya Valkyrie and her little dog too. I can't remember the name of the dog, but I always love a dog accessory, so that looks pretty cool. We got the more basic Taya in the past. We unboxed it on the channel, but we got a more full-on elite style Taya coming, a little bit more deluxe style, as we do have two different lines, of course, from Boss Fight Studios. So we do get Taya currently in AEW, so there's a working agreement somewhere in contracts or whatever, same like Ray Fenix and Penta. We've seen kind of the same thing going on. We got Vampiro. This one is very exciting, especially for those of us that love face-painted wrestlers. We get two looks for Vampiro, thankfully, as the first one I saw was the ICP one. Insane Clown Posse, for those that know, and I kind of wish I didn't know. I'm not down with the clown. I don't know. It just never did anything for me. You guys know I like my heavy metal stuff more than my rap stuff, so didn't really work for me. I enjoyed Vampiro's time with the Misfits more than ICP. Maybe that was just me. Who knows? But we do have an ICP/regular edition. So I'll, of course, do the review and do both for the Glamour Shots, but it's going to be regular edition all day long on my shelf. I'm not going to do the old ICP thing. I don't think, unless it just blows me away in hand. We'll see what happens. But we do got Vampiro coming. That's going to be very exciting. A lot of people are going to want that for their WCW shelf, mixed in with the Elites, things like that. I get that all day. We did see Laredo Kid coming, very detailed. Of course, a Lucha star as well. And then Tenoblis Jr., that's kind of the dark horse of the bunch, at least for me. That's the one I'm the least familiar with of the foursome here. So we'll see how those do go. Those are up for pre-order, of course, on the Entertainment Earth of the world. Use discount code Kyle, of course. And then you got them at Big Bad Toy Store. Link in the description below. So choose your own Boss Fight, Master Republic, Legends of Lucha, Libre adventure. So we got those going on right now. Moving on to the old retro corner. I need to get a fancy little jingle for the retro corner. Just a little do-do-do-do, something like that. As we turn to some retro news this week. A little quiet, though. But KWK, of course, the next round of pre-orders. We're in October now. We got the Comet Kid. He's coming in hot. He's flying in. The old Paul Diamond, of course. A lot of people think of the Conan time. No, it isn't Conan. It is Paul Diamond, technically. So you got the Comet Kid. Hit the pre-orders up on that. We got the variant editions like we see in the past with KWK. That is up for all of October, so you got some time, but don't forget, be there or be square, as one may say. So that is up for pre-order. Speaking of pre-orders, as I'm filming this on Friday, pre-orders went up for the Epic Toys British Bulldogs Retro 2-pack. All day long, I'm here for some British Bulldog figures. Going to be an interesting one. Of course, we did pre-order Demolition and the Powers of Pain a month ago. Once again, what is time? What is it? We'll figure it out one of these days. But British Bulldogs is up for pre-order. So if you're a Bulldogs fan, you need them in your retro collection, you know where to go. Pick that one up. I think the Asylum Toys is selling them as well. So head on over to the old friends over there at the Asylum Toy Store. And the Asylum Toy Store, when we get those figures, we need that. I need my Road Warriors. Hopefully those are coming very soon, as they were originally supposed to be, I think, August, moved to September. Now we're into October. We'll see what happens with all that. But I'm very excited for those WWE Superstar style figures from Asylum Toys, and we'll see how Series 2 goes once that does come. And we got to get Series 1 first, as we do know. But then we move our attention over to He-Man, and we got a lot of news from the He-Man department this week. And the one I'm very excited for, and it keeps reminding me, I got to get my pre-order in. I haven't pre-ordered it yet. Mondo Toys. You guys know I love the Mondo stuff. I'm all in on the He-Man. I'm all in on the X-Men. Well, Beastman is up for pre-order. We first saw him in hand at PowerCon. I went there. I could not believe it. Those figures are big normally, but this Beastman is another level of bigness. Yes, bigness. He is massive. He is monstrous, and that's how you want your Beast Man. I'm all in on this one, man. It is just an awesome, awesome figure. I just hate the price point. I think a lot of us do, but you get what you pay for. You can definitely argue that, but a very, very cool Beast Man, very classic Beast Man. So many bells and whistles. We got about a week pre-order on that one, so forever hold your peace or pay the aftermarket after that, as we do know. But I'm here all day long for this Beastman. A must-have in my collection, and probably a lot of you as well. Friday, as we're watching this yesterday, that 2-pack from Mattel Creations, that crazy Skeletor 2-pack went up. I like the Skeletor figure with the 3 different heads, the accessories. It's just that other Skeletor figure that gives me a little, I scratch my head just a little bit. I'm not sure. That could be the lice coming back. Who knows? Maybe I got lice. I don't know. But I don't know about that one. But I did pick it up. I had to. You know, I'm a completionist or a completist with, of course, the Masters of the Universe, Origins, Filmation, all that kind of line there. So I picked it up a little bit under protest. We're going to call it a little bit under protest. I fully expect we'll probably see a He-Man one of these in the future as well. It just kind of writes itself at this point. But Skeletor coming in hot. Sounds like it's shipping a ways away. It's not going to be an early ship or anything like that. So the more you know, the more you know. But then this week, we had a big announcement from Mattel, and a lot of the stuff we kind of knew from San Diego Comic-Con, but this was the official dates with release dates, and of course, pre-orders over at Entertainment Earth. Use code Kyle. You got Big Bad Toy Store down low, of course, but we did see some Origins and Masterverse pre-orders go up this week, and for the Origins Filmation style, Beastman, He-Man, Skeletor, Teela, and of course Man-at-Arms. And is Man-at-Arms an Amazon exclusive? As of right now, it kind of feels that way. We'll see how it ends up shaking out. But we saw those go up for pre-order. Really turning the page, I guess, on the Origins, moving over to the Filmation. And it makes a lot of sense when you put that business hat on, because you need the He-Man, the Beastman, the Man-at-Arms. You need the heavy hitters out there on a regular basis. We're so deep into Origins right now. We still will talk Origins here, but we're getting down to some C and D level characters at the end of the day. You definitely have to have them, but they don't have the star power of some of these Filmation ones. So it's Mattel saying we got to re-energize it, we got to flip it, we got to turn it over, and then give an opportunity for maybe people that were on the outside looking at Origins. Now they can get a chance to jump in with Filmation. So I don't want to jump into Origins. They're too deep in the line. I can't start now. Oh, this brand new Filmation just started. I'm jumping on that. So you got to always put that business hat on things like that. But it does look good. It's very cool. And of course, if you're like me, that's my first experience at He-Man was definitely the toys and the Filmation cartoon. No doubt about it. So it's an interesting lineup right there. But we're not done. We got some Masters Universe Origin figures that apparently are going to be Walmart exclusives. Now, next week, 10/13, Walmart Collector Con, we're going to see a lot of pre-orders. We're going to talk about some of those later on in this video. So check out that here in a little bit. That's called foreshadowing in the movie business. And as you guys know, I'm one class away from a minor in film. I don't know if I've said that lately, but one class away. One day I'm going to finish. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned. More on that. But we got Lord Grasp, Terror, easy for me to say, and Necroconda. I don't even know who that character is. That's the deepest cut yet, I do think, from the Origins. But I wonder if those will go up on 10/13. I guess we'll wait and see what happens there. But those will be Walmart exclusives. Fingers crossed on that. We know how the Walmart exclusives have really shaken out over the last, I don't know, a couple years at this point here. So that'll be interesting to see where that goes. And then we did see another deep, crazy cut kind of out of left field. Not sure exactly where this goes, but this will be a Target exclusive. It is Skeletor and the Demogoblin, or Demogorgon. There we go. I had to go through the Rolodex real quick. The Demogorgon from Stranger Things, of course. So it's a little crossover 2-pack. Take it or leave it a little bit. A lot of people down on it. Do we need another Skeletor? Do we need this made-up character? I don't know. You got to ask yourself. You got to vote with your wallet. This is one of those packs. If they make a pretty good amount of these, we could see these going to clearance in the future. We'll see what happens. But we do got that 2-pack probably coming to Target fairly soon as a pre-order. And then Masterverse. Of course, the Masterverse, a little new packaging changes, some changes with that. We do got Evil Lyn coming. Of course, movie edition Evil Lyn. I want to say that was a Walmart or Target exclusive. I think possibly Target. I could be wrong. One of those two, I believe, is what it is. We got Man-at-Arms. Got to have a Man-at-Arms. Gwildor and Orko. We got that 2-pack coming. First announced at San Diego Comic-Con. I believe that's a fan channel exclusive, so that won't be at your Walmarts and Targets. Battle Armor He-Man. The Sorceress, of course. Triclops, another all-timer. Mecha, a favorite of mine. Trapjaw, and then Revelation Skeletor. We're getting all that kind of stuff going for the Masterverse line. So the Masterverse line rolls on into 2024. Pre-orders up at all the usual suspect places right now. So if you're after that, be ready to open up your wallet a little bit. So all the usual places, like I said, for those. And speaking of the usual places, especially back in the day, in happier, simpler times, Toys R Us. Oh, I was a Toys R Us kid. You probably were as well. I was also a Children's Palace kid. That's where I cut my teeth as a really little kid. But then they went out of business or moved away, whatever, when Toys R Us came to town. And the rest truly was history. But Toys R Us, once again, yeah, I know, we hear this every couple of years. They're coming back with a vengeance. And there was another article out in the last week about Toys R Us coming back in 2024. I think looking at opening about 25 stores. We'll see where it goes. Very interesting for me in my travel schedule. They're opening up a Toys R Us in the Dallas-Fort Worth airport, which I spend many a day and sometimes night at the Dallas airport. So I'm going there, I think, later this year. So after the time frame where that's supposed to open for the holiday season. So I'll definitely check that out. We'll do a video from the Toys R Us in the airport. That's something I never thought I'd say. But they're going to come out with these stores, and we got to, settle our expectations. They came back to Macy's. Not really a lot to look at, not really a lot to do there. However, these ones supposedly are going to be real stores, and if I was in charge of this, and I'm not, probably for good reason, because who knows if I'd make the right choice. That's not for me now, but playing it out's really fun at this table right here. But I don't think you could come back to store sizes of the old Toys R Us. It's just not possible. Kids don't buy toys like they used to. If you did do that, you would have to probably do a Toys R Us, Babies R Us, a Toys R Us technology section. You would have to mix in a lot of stuff under that umbrella. To me, if they do come back, if they actually hit retail, they probably need to be like a TJ Maxx or Ross style size store. Not too super big like a Walmart or Target, but kind of that in between. As we see in a lot of strip malls, things like that. That would be a much better size, I think, for a Toys R Us in this day and age. And you'd probably have to have some Babies R Us stuff. You'd probably have to sell a lot of video games, iPhones, iPads, who knows, maybe even cell phones in there. I can just see Verizon having a little kiosk in there or something, who knows. You'd have to do stuff like that. Maybe a nice pizza slide by the Slice lunchroom in there. That'll bring the people in. Who knows? But if Toys R Us comes back, I think that's the model they have to go to. Maybe even smaller at that point. So I think just the heydays of the past, I just don't think we'll ever see them again. I hope we do. I would love to see it. I just don't know if they can turn and burn the retail aspect and turn and burn the product like they used to. I just don't think it's feasible in here 2023, around the corner to 2024. But man, me and probably everybody else watching this, we're rooting for a Toys R Us comeback. We'll see what happens. We're just not going to hold our breath. I think that's a fair assessment right there. Moving on, of course, Super 7. They got the bodega going on this month of October. Head on over to Super 7. Use code KYLEP to support the channel, as they say. We'll see where that goes. Hopefully in the future they get something more with that. We'll see what happens. We'll keep pushing that button. We'll keep ringing the doorbell at Super 7. Hey guys, can we do something? Can we do something? We'll see what happens. But for now, KYLEP, if you're checking out at the Super 7 store for anything. But we got Super 7 store reaction, and I guess it's available everywhere else, but Super 7 store as well. It is the Svengoolie reaction figure, and everything's coming up Svengoolie this week. My dad and I unboxed the Tootie Terror Svengoolie figure. Really lightened my day up when Svengoolie gave it the old thumbs up over on the old X out there. So Svengoolie watched it. I'm sure it was Svengoolie approved. I'm sure that unboxing. But we probably will unbox that reaction figure, or at least to get some for my dad, because he's a big Svengoolie guy. So he will like that. So Svengoolie reaction figure coming. I did reach out to somebody at Super 7 and said, what's it take to get a Svengoolie Ultimate? And he said, we better sell a ton of these reactions first. So but everybody that watches this, buy a reaction. Better yet, buy 3 of them. And then send a note to Super 7. Hey, we need a Svengoolie Ultimate Edition figure to make Kyle's dad happy. I'm sure they'll totally understand that message. And I'm sure it'll get done right away. But shout out to Super 7 for at least putting a reaction out there. So I'm here for that all day long. Now we head back over to New York Toy Fair. This time, we take a gander at the McFarlane Toys booth. And Todd McFarlane's sitting right over there. Hey, Todd, we're doing a video right here. But it's good to see Todd McFarlane sitting there representing the hardest working guy in the toy business from where I sit. And as you guys know, right here, very often I sit right here, as you guys see on all the videos we put out there. But he's the James Brown of action figure making. I'm the James Brown of YouTube videos. We're both hardworking guys, so we respect each other from across the room. Right, Todd? Todd, that guy, Joker over there. But we're here at New York Toy Fair once again, and McFarlane did show something pretty cool. He showed a lot of stuff off, as he always does. Every day there's a new announcement, but he did show off Batman Forever toy line with Build-A-Figure. Thought this was a pretty cool toy line right here. Of course, you're getting Robin, old Chris O'Donnell himself. Whatever happened to that guy? I don't know. I'm not a big movie guy, so he fell off my radar after that movie, in all honesty. We got Alicia Silverstone, Batgirl, an interesting one there. Of course, Batman. I haven't seen how does that differ than the big Batman movie pack that we got, and I had a hunch, and I even said it, I think, on Toy News, that we'll probably get all those Batman eventually, and here we go. We're getting the first one here with Batman. Poison Ivy, Uma Thurman, I believe, is who played that. We got Poison Ivy coming. But the one I'm excited for is the Build-A-Figure. Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze all day long. Sign me up right there. Where's Jim Carrey? Where's Jim Carrey? We need to get him involved in somewhere in here as, of course, the Riddler. But I'm here excited for that Arnold Build-A-Figure, Mr. Freeze, big Arnold guy. So I'm all in on that one there. I'll buy that whole set. Day one buyer on that one. We also saw Batman Animated Series, which are starting to hit Target stores right now. Pre-orders, I think, are supposed to start shipping in the next couple of days. So I'm very excited for this Batman Animated Series line. We'll talk about it more in that video, but I'm very excited for this. But they did show an Alfred. Of course, Alfred coming to that line. They said Alfred would be a retailer exclusive, would not come with Build-A-Figure pieces, anything like that. Well, it does look like Alfred will be a Target exclusive later, probably in the month of October, so be ready to pre-order him. You kind of got to have that Alfred figure, if you ask me, and I think it's a good choice as a store exclusive. It's not one everybody needs to have, but it is a pretty good one, and a lot of accessories with this Alfred as well, so that is pretty cool. Then we turn our attention over here to the Diamond Select booth. We walk over to the Diamond Select, and we see from the X-Men, we see Angel, we see Archangel. We see him with multiple heads, big wingspan, a very cool looking figure. I wish this was a deluxe Marvel Legends, because this would probably be a little too big to smoke and mirrors in with your X-Men set, but boy, oh boy, does it look cool. I really do like the looks of this one. I'm not sure if I'm going to pick it up or not, but I really would like to have my hands on it and play around with it a little bit. I just don't know if I have a place to display it, but we'll see what happens when the time comes. I can see me seeing it and saying, I don't want it, but I must have it. I can see that happening possibly. We'll see what happens there. But a big figure, very cool. Love the wingspan on that. Here for that all day long. We also saw from Diamond Select, they had, of course, Crimson Dynamo, which is coming in like February, March of next year. You got to have that to go with your Titanium Man. You can just play some wings, Paul McCartney, Magneto and Titanium Man, and the Crimson Dynamo. We know that song. If you don't know that song, man, check out the Paul McCartney and Wings era. Back to the Egg, mwah, Chef's Kiss. Back to the Egg, probably my favorite Paul McCartney album. Can you believe it? Yes, it's true. We'll talk about that album of the week one of these days, maybe. Who knows? But we did see from Diamond Select, they got a Captain America coming. Apparently interchangeable torsos on this. Not for me once again, but you never know. Once you see it in hand, it might be a player. It might be a player. We'll see what happens. But we do got some stuff from Diamond Select coming. Always fun to see that. But guess what? That's page one of my notes. Little bullet points. You know me. Free form. Bam. See you later. We're moving on to page number 2 of the Toy News of the Week this week. Now we turn our attention over to Collectors Con, back to Collectors Con at Walmart. This time we talk a little G.I. Joe Classified series, and of course you've been following along on the channel. We've been G.I. Joe classifying about every single day. We've unboxed so many of those figures. It just feels like every day there's a G.I. Joe at my doorstep, and that's not a bad thing. Get me a G.I. Joe a day, or if they could, I wouldn't mind a G.I. Joe of the Week club. You know, every week there's a new G.I. Joe figure. Instead of getting like 6 at once, let's get 1 a week, and let's just space that out for the year, 52 figures a year. I'd be down with that. Let's get back to the old G.I. Joe Club days. If you guys were longtime collectors like me, you were part of the G.I. Joe Club where you got a figure every, what was it, 2 figures a month, and then like once a year you got a bonus figure, something like that. It's been a while, but I got all those. You've seen them in my toy room. G.I. Joe Collector Con coming 10/13. We got 3 figures going up for pre-order. We got the Wolf Spider. Not sure how I feel about him. We'll see. He's a new character. Not really big fan of a new character in this line. I feel like they got a lot of hits to be played before they start making new hits. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens at Wolf Spider. Shadow Tracker, an all-time favorite from the Pursuit of Cobra days. I believe that was the line. Was it? I think it was Pursuit of Cobra. He stole our heart many moons ago. Not really known to old-time fans, maybe, but a very cool one and one of the more newer Joes that stole our heart over the last, we'll call it decade. 2 decades? What is time, once again? And then the one that I like, but I don't like is, of course, Tunnel Rat and his Night Force gear. So, Makes sense. I understand it. But we need more time. I'm fine with these repaints. I understand they make the world go around. But I feel like people, myself, I just unboxed the new Tunnel Rat a couple of weeks ago. It'll be, you know, the next 3 months or so as it starts going out to shelf and people start getting them and picking them up. And then bam, right around the corner, you're going to have a Night Force one. I feel like if you waited a year, 2 years in between some of these repaints, it might go a little bit better. I don't know. It just feels too soon for Tunnel Rat. Maybe that's just me. We'll see what happens, but it sounds like 10/13 going up for pre-order. Get your wallets ready once again. Now we turn our attention over to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the crossover event of a lifetime is apparently upon us. As this was rumored 6 months ago, 8 months ago, we talked about it on the channel here in the Toy News, said we'll see where it goes. Well, finally it's kind of starting to see going somewhere, and it still has not officially been announced, but we did see an image at Toy Fair going around. Apparently it was from a vendor booth. We'll see. We'll get to the bottom of it. We'll put the Bloodhounds on it, or we'll put the Corgi Poos, Ace, Domino, and Lemmy on it. They'll get the answers for us. But a Turtle He-Man crossover. Truly the crossover event of a lifetime. Looks like the packaging, card style, more akin to Masters Universe Origin style. Not a bad thing. I like the slim, sleek design instead of the big box of the Playmate ones, for example. But an interesting one. Turtle fans. Turtles will cross over with anything, as we do know. We've seen him multiple times crossover. Here's another event with He-Man, so we'll stay tuned to that as more info does come. But speaking of Ninja Turtles, we're going to go to Super 7. We're going over to that Super 7 booth. We're going to give high five to old Brian Flynn. I think Kyle's over there as well. We'll see. It's always good to see another Kyle, and especially face-to-face. But Super 7 Ultimates, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We saw some of the first time some of these prototypes, some of these figures that went up for pre-order a heck of a long time ago. But some very cool stuff here, especially a hairy bipedal creature. I know, some people say it's not. It is to me. It is to me, and that's all that matters. Gorilla, if you get that. But he is a big, big, beefy boy. I am here for that. I am very excited for that one. That's going to be a shelf killer is what that one is. But it does look really cool from what we're seeing there. And then Donatello, it's all about these Donatello variants. We got Punker Don, and I just don't think of him as a punk rock guy. Maybe that's me. You guys tell me. I think of him more as a classical pianist type of guy. I think of him listening to some Yo-Yo Ma, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? But he is punk rocker, and it throws back to the old Playmates one, of course, as we do know. So Punk Don is coming. The Triceratons are coming as well. We're getting a metal head recolor, simple repaint. That's kind of the business, we do know. The Triceraton, though, is the sleeper between those two for me. Robot Rocksteady, of course, we've seen those before in the NECA line. I got to think Bebop will probably be in the following set. I think they might have even already announced that or gave a clue to that at least. We also saw the Turtle Van. Man, these Turtle Vans taking forever. It sounds like NECA is getting dangerously close to shipping theirs, if not already, so we'll have to stay tuned to those developments. But the Super 7 one, maybe end of the year, maybe first of the year. We'll see where that goes, but the Turtle Van was there on display. Oh, one of my favorites, not really. Zack the Neutrino. The Neutrinos were always annoying for me. I've talked about it before, but we're getting Zack the Neutrino in the Super 7 line. Got to think they'll eventually get us the whole team. It makes a lot of sense. And then Splinter Flocked, another repaint, I guess, repaint. But I really do like the looks of this one, and I like the idea of the flocked Splinter. Don't tell good friend of the channel, Robo, about it. He don't want to hear anything about it. But I'm here for a flocked Splinter. I'll take that in my collection. Why wouldn't I? And then we weren't done there. We saw Wingnut and Screw Loose, a little different take than the prior ones we've received in the past. We also saw Scumbug, once again, coming back to many lines. We've seen him all over the place, of course. And then we do got Donatello once again, but this time it's Slam Dunkin' Don. Oh, he's slam dunking left and right, doing his thing right there on the old playground, I assume. So we do have that coming. And then from NECA, we turn over to NECA, a little turtle action from NECA. So it's the turtle segment of the show here. We did see the box for the NECA Turtle Van, so you know it's dangerously close when they're starting to show the box out there. So we're going to see that very, very soon. Like I said, I got an email, I think, last week that it's preparing to ship. So we'll see in the next couple of weeks. We might have a turtle van at the old table right here. So stay tuned for that. We also saw NECA, their Universal Monster crossovers. We saw these before, but I guess we got a little bit more look into them today here on the channel. We did see the Creature from the Black Lagoon, Leonardo, and things are coming up Creature left and right. My dad has been over on a daily basis unboxing Creature from the Black Lagoon figures with me. We do have one that'll go up sometime this week, the black and white version. The glow-in-the-dark San Diego Comic-Con's been on Patreon for like 2 months. We'll get it out eventually. And then, of course, we did the color one about a week ago. Once again, what is time? We did that on the channel as well. So a lot of creature stuff. Here's another one with the turtle crossover. And then we got Raphael crossed over with the Wolfman. Oh, that whiny Larry Talbot, as my dad would say. But we do have him coming as well. And they said they're not done with these Universal Monster crossovers. So we'll see where they go in the future with some of these. A fun little subline I am definitely here for. But NECA wasn't done with the turtle stuff. We did see some NECA 2-packs, of course, from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Part 3 in their samurai get-ups. Now, we did get that at San Diego Comic-Con. We all pretty much knew eventually those were going to come to the traditional line. I believe they're going to be a Walmart exclusive. I haven't unboxed Turtles 2 or Turtles 3 San Diego box sets yet on the channel. I have an accessory set. I am behind on a lot of stuff, as you guys know, so I'll eventually get to those on the channel. Maybe too little too late. Everybody's seen those by now, but we'll see what happens. We might unbox them one day here, so stay tuned. We did see Jack Kirby, but we'll just call him Kirby here. We did see that coming to the Mirage line. I didn't really know about the Mirage, but apparently a very cool character in there. And of course, we know all about Jack Kirby, his fame, Marvel Comics, all that kind of stuff. So we did see that. We saw the Usagi Yojimbo 4-pack. We saw that, I believe, at San Diego Comic-Con as well. Sounds like that's coming early in 2024. It'll be the year of the rabbit, I believe they said it was. So makes a lot of sense there. We saw a brand new Foot Soldier. I believe he will come with Casey Jones in his suit. It's like sliced down the middle Foot Soldier. Pretty cool effect. I think I like the looks of that. And then Donatello, all these different careers Donatello's got going on. He is also an astronaut, and we will see him in his astronaut gear eventually as well. But we're not done with NECA as we're speeding through the toy news here. We did see Hammer Horror Christopher Lee, and I've been ribbing. I've been giving my dad the elbow. Dad, one of these days NECA's going to make these Hammer figures. Well, that time is now. We're getting Christopher Lee. I don't know if I'll be able to get my dad over to unbox that on the channel. He is so anti-Christopher Lee unless he's in the Lord of the Rings. Then he's all in. He's all in for that version. He just didn't like that vampire one. He is a purist to the Universal Monsters, but I'm going to try to do my best to get him to unbox this Christopher Lee Hammer figure in the future. We'll see what happens on that one. And then we do get Vincent Price, and Vincent Price, an all-timer out there. Because Christopher Lee, people think of him as Dracula. Bela Lugosi, they think of him as Dracula. Lon Chaney Jr., they think of him as Wolfman. So all these guys are tied to their character. Vincent Price is the only guy that isn't. You see Vincent Price, you think of course, the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. That's where my mind first goes, of course, as a little kid. But Scooby-Doo aside, we think of him as a horror icon, but more in the Edgar Allan Poe stuff, and the Invisible Man maybe, but he isn't tied to a character, which can, of course, be a blessing or a curse, depending who you ask. He's just known as a horror influential icon. So that's a pretty cool deal. And I love the 3 heads for Vincent Price. So if you want to do the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo Vincent Price, hey, there's the gray-haired version for you. Or you can go back to any of his other movies there, The House of Wax or whatever, give him the black hair if you want to. So another immediate pickup for me will be that Vincent Price figure. And we also saw London After Midnight. I think that was debuted at San Diego Comic-Con. One I'm very excited for, and it's so funny. I find it funny. And some of you guys may be guilty of this. Now, of course, you guys know, I mentioned it earlier, I'm one class away from a minor in film. So I got some historical film knowledge and stuff. Just because I don't watch a lot of these Top Guns and crazy movies like these, doesn't mean I don't know my history on movies and stuff. But London After Midnight is possibly the greatest lost movie of all time. It was lost. There was one copy left, and I think it burned down in a fire in LA. There's been a lot of rumors, like down in Argentina, there might be a copy somewhere, but it is not seen. There's been a few clips, there's been some stills, but nobody really that's living now has seen the entire movie. So it's really not controversial, but it's a very interesting one. But it's like a grail piece that so many people want, because Lon Chaney Jr., you know, the Wolfman, stuff like that, his son. But Lon Chaney, the man of 1,000 faces, a lot of people want to see what all the fuss is about here. But there's been so many people, I've seen them on message boards and stuff. Oh, London After Midnight, that's a favorite movie of mine. One of my favorite movies. Is it? Is it your favorite movie, since nobody's ever seen the movie? So that just tells you. Some people, oh, it's my favorite, but they don't even know what they're talking about. So I kind of chuckle every time I see that. And maybe you knew that. Maybe you were guilty of it. Maybe you weren't. Maybe you're just like, Kyle, fast forward. How do I skip? 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds. Could be going on right now. Who knows? Who knows? But Professor Burke, London After Midnight, such an iconic image. Got to have that in my collection. Not sure. I think my dad's on the fence on that one. So we'll see what happens with that. And then, NECA gargoyles. Oh, the gargoyle of the week segment here. We need to get good friend of the channel, once again, Jeff George. We'll talk about him a little later as well. Big gargoyle fan like me. We're working our way through the gargoyle seasons, and we're working our way through the gargoyle collection, and we need a jingle, Jeff, for the gargoyle moment of the week. That's what we need. It could be something like Xanatos Franks inspired. Who knows? But we'll work on that. We'll work on that. But NECA gargoyles, I think, me personally, all the pictures I saw from NECA Toy Fair, they stole the show and in turn stole a lot of hearts. They stole a lot of hearts. They did that gargoyles team. That diorama, absolutely next level. Give me that in my collection, but shrink it down. I would like, you know, it's a big box right there of the clock. Just give me one side. I want one side of the clock, I think, is what I need. We'll see what happens with that. I don't know if I have room for something that big, but I've still got to figure out where I'm going to put all these gargoyles once we unbox those. That's a problem for future Kyle, as some may say. But the gargoyles going hot with that diorama, looking absolutely amazing. I'm definitely here for that. We also saw Cold Stone, Macbeth, some new characters, and a lot of chatter. There was chatter out there on the gargoyles that there's going to be a lot of figures in the pipeline for that, some box sets, things like that. Sign me up all day long. I'm all in on the gargoyles. Get me Lexington. Get me little sexy Lexi. I need him in my collection, and then I think I'll have everybody by this time. So I'm here for that. Sign me up for more gargoyles, and more gargoyles talk to come. Maybe it's a gargoyle unboxing of the week over on the second channel. We'll see what we can do. There's only so many hours in the day, and I'm about there. I'm about there. You know, you sleep 4 or 5 hours, something like that, and you work all the time. Dangerously close. I don't know if there's anything else I can save time for. So we'll see what happens, but we'll keep it with the 4 videos of the day between the 2 channels. We're going to keep going strong. We're going to do our best. We always do. And when I say we, I mean me. So there you go. And then the one where it officially jumped the shark for the weekend there. NECA. I love NECA. Bless their hearts, as my grandma would say. NECA coming out with a Toonie Terrors Angela Lansbury. What are we doing? Murder, She Wrote. Are you kidding me? I guess it's kind of funny. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek. It is Toonie Terrors, of course. But man, Murder, She Wrote was an absolute game changer as far as changing the channel on the remote for me as a little kid. It was just like nails on a chalkboard whenever Murder, She Wrote would come on. Old Angela Lansbury, I'm sure she was a nice lady. I'm sure she was nice. But man, little Kyle, old Kyle, I ain't got time for Angela Lansbury. But I did think that was interesting. I just really said, are they really out of Toonie Terror ideas when they got Murder, She Wrote? Next up in the next series, Silk Stockings. Yes, Silk Stockings coming. I have to imagine that's on the horizon as well. We'll see what happens. But could we get figures? This is what I need to ask. I need to ask Super 7. I need to ask NECA because they're going to be the 2 to do this. I just thought of it. Just came to my head right now as I'm talking. The old Fox show Werewolf. The greatest werewolf show of all time. Think Incredible Hulk TV series, but with werewolves. Doesn't get better than that. The greatest show ever. Scorzini, oh man, he left the show. It was crazy, but I won't spoil it. It's all on YouTube. Go watch it. It's an amazing show. I need figures from Werewolf. How do we get werewolf figures? Oh my gosh, that would be an absolute game changer. I'm going to work on that. Next time I talk to any of these people, any of these companies, okay guys, what's it take to get the Werewolf brand? That's what I'm going to say. So we'll see what happens. Mattel, Hasbro, if you guys want to do it, more than happy. More than happy. But anyways, off course here a little bit. We're finishing up. We're finishing up, I swear. We got Angela Lansbury out of the way. Not coming to my collection. And then we're going to finish it off. I'm not going to go deep into this, but I do recommend go to social media, go to the usual places, Toy Fair website, things like that. But Trick or Treat Studios coming in extremely hot. I talked about that Gargoyles being probably the hottest thing at the show. Man, this wasn't far off from Trick or Treat Studios. They had Halloween figures. They had Captain Spaulding, House of a Thousand Corpses figures, Ghost figures, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Toxic Crusaders. They were playing so many hits in that 5-inch scale, though, which I think might limit them for some collectors, but it is kind of looking to be their niche. But boy, oh boy, they showed a lot of cool stuff off. I don't know if my wallet could handle all that stuff, but kudos to Trick or Treat to dive into some of these collections. Night of the Living Dead Part 2. Oh my gosh. Playing a lot of 80s hits that I'm definitely here for there. So, and an all-timer of the week here for the toy news this week. Just an all-timer. Almost 40 minutes we're at, so we're going to cut it short right there. But I'm sure I missed a few things. it is what it is. There's only so much time to do these videos, but a lot of stuff shown this week. Get your wallets ready. Get your third and fourth part-time job, and you'll be all set for all these figures. There you go. The more you know. Now we get down to the album of the week this week. Album of the week, Permission to Land by The Darkness, 20th anniversary edition. I can't believe it was 20 years ago this album came out. Man, oh man, 2003, 2004, this was my album. I listened to this all the time, playing all the hits with the Hawkins brothers. Absolutely loved this album. Still love this album today. Great that it got the deluxe treatment. You got live stuff, you got bonus tracks, all the usual bells and whistles here. I am here for this all day long. Love The Darkness. I used to always play I believe in a thing called Love Riff, because I could only play the riff, but that's all you needed. That's all you needed at the bar. You just say, oh, give me that guitar, I'll play this. And the ladies loved it. Ladies, little known fact, that's how I met my wife, girlfriend at the time, right around that time. So many parties listening to Permission to Land. So whenever I think back to that, I think back to those days, and I truly landed. So there you go. If you don't know The Darkness, man, start there. That's a good one. Very underrated, if you ask me. And they came at a time when classic rock and heavy metal, it was, Limp Bizkit stuff. It was all that new metal stuff going on. That's just not for me. They were really bringing back, some may say they were bringing back the balls to rock, like a young Lordy in some ways. Who knows? Who knows? But I'm here for Permission to Land. I'm here for The Darkness. I'm here for the album of the week. So there it is. There's the toy news of the week. A big, big time week in the toy news of the week. Thank you for staying put and watching all this as I ramble on about all these things. But I hope you did enjoy it. If you did enjoy it, make sure you give it the old thumbs up. It always helps the channel when you like the video. Subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to the other YouTube channel. Don't forget about the Patreon for early access to videos like this. Bonus content, exclusive content, giveaways, you name it. It's all over there on the old Patreon. And don't forget, ProWrestlingTees.com. Those two places, best way to support the channel. You can also support the channel over on the X at SirPaul64 and Instagram and Threads at _Kyle_Peterson. So you know what I'm doing. I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into another weekend.